I'm gonna need another sip of tea. Here's some quick facts about the story from the National Post and the Narwhal. Never thought I'd see these guys on the same page. Number one, the TC Energy staffer used to be Premier Horgan's chief of staff, but the lobby registry didn't identify him as a former public office holder. That's against the rules. The lobbyist planted staff in public events to ask politicians questions and ghost wrote briefing notes for cabinet ministers. TC Energy is behind the deeply flawed Coastal GasLink project, the one that, keeps getting fined for breaking its permit and environmental rules. The one that did not have the consent of the hereditary chiefs of Wet'suwet'en to go through their territory. Oh, the one that caused the damage to the Wedzingqua River. That one. They're also the company that's behind the proposed Prince Rupert gas transmission pipeline. This is not a one-off for TC Energy. It has real consequences for BC and for approval of future projects. Remember when Premier Eby said, we can't meet our climate goals and continue to build more fossil fuel infrastructure? According to this guy, they were behind changing Premier Eby's mind on that, and now we have David Eby, champion of LNG. Let's be clear, there is one political party in British Columbia that truly believes and truly understands we cannot keep adding dirty fossil fuels to our economy, to our environment, and to our atmosphere if we are going to actually address the crisis that is climate change. Here in the BC Green Leaders office, I meet with nurses, I meet with teachers, I meet with environmental scientists, I meet with people who are experts in healthcare and mental health care, I meet with housing experts, I meet with tenants, I meet with people. Over there, in the Premier's office, we can tell from the lobbying records that he's meeting with lobbyists from the oil and gas sector, and they have his ear. The BC Greens have a long history of fighting against corruption and corporate lobbyists within the BC NDP. BC only has a lobbyist registry because when the Greens held balance of power in 2017 to 2020, we got it into the confidence and supply agreement, and we ensured that we have a level of transparency about who is lobbying whom in this province and how often they are lobbying. That was part of our 2017 platform, and that's an example of how Greens can influence outcomes even from a tiny little group of 2 or 3 seats. We can make things happen. We need more lobbying reform, by the way. We got to put some limits on how many times these lobbyists can visit the government. 80 times a month by the fossil fuel industry alone. In 2022, I called out the Minister of Energy and Mines in the legislature for the concerning similarities around his ministry's briefing notes and lobbyist messaging around the impacts of the Blueberry First Nation Supreme Court decision and those impacts on the oil and gas industry. Let's look.
Would the minister recognize that the information presented in the briefing note was not necessarily identifiable as having been produced by industry lobbyists and was rather presented to the minister as a briefing note from staff?
In 2023, we introduced a private members bill that would strengthen the members' conflict of interest legislation. We think that there should be a cooling off period for elected officials before they head straight into the arms of industry. Former Chief Forester, that's another story for another cup of green tea. We'll get there. The legislature is the people's house, not a lobbyist living room, and government should be focused on you, and they should be on your side.